Welcome to another insightful episode of Parent Entrepreneur Power. In this podcast, Mary Catherine Johnson and Evan Johnson highlight the successes and struggles of parents in business. They share how to be the example of success in entrepreneurship to foster the same in your child, and so much more. Are you ready to power up?
Welcome, everybody. We are here for another incredible episode, and we got my wonderful co-host, Mary Catherine Johnson, with us today, and our guest, Meagan Ruppert, we are very excited about. Meagan, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
For those people who may not know you or haven't been following you, tell us a little bit about you. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with female coaches, and I help them to build, along with my business partner, Athena Quinones, through our company, Scale Business Consulting. We help female coaches to really build a sustainable business. We put a huge emphasis on systems, processes, and teams as a means to actually grow in a sustainable way. It's not necessarily the sexy part of business. I know everybody wants marketing and sales, but all of that stuff can come once you have the solid foundation. And so that is what we focus on in our company. And we bring a combined 26 years or so in entrepreneurship. I've been in the coaching industry since 2013. And so seen a lot of ups and downs, and we've kind of distilled all that into what we do today. So there it is.
And you and I met when you were working for someone else in the marketing and systems category, or in that role. And we worked together for, I think, about a year and got some great things done. And now you're off doing your own thing again. And I love it. I love watching you from the other side and this whole transformation that you've made, and really finding that place that you thrive. I mean, you are amazing at funnels and systems and putting these things together. And then also the marketing that goes into them. I mean, you're just like Renaissance woman.
Oh, thanks, MK. Yeah, it's been definitely a journey. That's what it is, right? The entrepreneurial journey is quite a winding up and down path. And I mean, I've seen you kind of do your own kind of growth and transformation and all that. So it's a fun ride.
And you have, tell us about your kids. You know, how many do you have and how old are they?
Yeah, so I'm in the thick of it. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. My son Ollie was born. He was born when I had my last company. He was born in 2017, and I always knew I was going to be a mom. And so, when it finally happened, I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to have time for myself to be with my son. And no, it didn't go that way because I didn't plan it effectively and had made all the mistakes. But now my daughter was born in the midst of the pandemic in June of 2020. So she's like 13 months or so. And Lucy, she's like a little light beam. And I remember when she was first born in this room, she was in her little bassinet right next to the computer while I was recording trainings. When they're like first born and they just sleep all day. And I was just like, she slept while I have like the recorder going and I'm making slide decks and recording all this stuff. So my kids have definitely been, they've been privy to the whole experience for sure.
Yeah. We talked about that one of the last times we talked, where, same thing with me. I raised them, and I worked in between when they napped, and when I put them down for bed, worked several more hours again. Just, I was at the time, I'm a night owl naturally, given my natural state of things. Evan and I are very similar in this way. I'll stay up till 1, 2 in the morning, watching a movie, reading a book, doing something like that, and then sleeping until 10, 11 o'clock in the morning if I can. And so of course, kids totally threw a wrench in that, right?
Yeah.
There's no way. I have my younger son, Riley, was up with the sun. Any light, anything, he was up. So, I mean, that meant I was up at 5:30, taking him out for a walk in the little papoose pack, right? We called it the papoose pack, walking around the neighborhood, getting him out of the house so the other family members could sleep, and just starting the day that way. I love that too. But my natural tendency is nighttime.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do everything like all night. It was great. I could get all my best work done then. Now I'm like, I walk out of my office and I'm like, the kids go to sleep. My goal is to not have to get back on the computer. Of course, last night I had to fix a major blunder in our CRM, like on with support. Please fix this. I made a big mistake. But yeah, that had me up till 10 p.m. last night. And I was like, oh, man, yeah, kids will make you go to sleep early or try. I'll try to go to sleep early, and they're getting up regardless.
That's it. I don't care what time you went to bed, you're getting up. Oh my gosh. Well, Evan keeps flashing on and off there, so we're loving you coming in and out.
Yeah, right. So am I. It's great.
I can imagine. Oh my goodness. So I know we also talked about the last time you and I chatted about, you know, being able to structure your business to be able to like foster this whole idea of entrepreneurship as an option with your kids. And I know you're structuring your life quite different from most people. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, I know you're talking about the types of schools you're looking to put your kids in, and also where you want to move and how you want to just structure your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So freedom has, I think for a lot of people, but definitely for me, freedom has been at the core of absolutely everything I've done. My first entrepreneurial journey was teaching women, well, actually making and selling hula hoops, and then teaching women how to do hoop dance. And for me, it was a path to freedom. It was personal freedom. It was like, wow, I remember like standing in the middle of this like big, huge plastic hula hoop. I was trying to keep myself busy during my senior year of college, in between writing papers and everything. And I was like, if I could just move while keeping this thing up around my waist, then cool. Then like I'll feel really good. And then I was like, okay, if I could just turn in a circle, if I could just dance, if I could just do this, like staying within this circle. And then what I realized is I'm like, I could move everywhere. As long as I kept it going, I could be anywhere I wanted. I could do anything I wanted. Like my capacity was absolutely unlimited. And that's where it all kind of started. And so when I ventured forward through that, I started producing festivals to actually bring people together to hula hoop and do yoga and music festivals. Is how I met my husband. But again, like at the core of everything has always been freedom and the ability to be wherever you want to be, whenever you want to be. And, you know, as a parent, I think it's just so important for us to be able to, you know, pick up the kids if that's what brings you joy, or drop them off at school if that's what brings you joy. And when I was working in that previous position, MK, where you and I met, I didn't have that option anymore. And it was, you know, it was a necessary gap of time. Everything is perfect and divinely orchestrated, and I'm so grateful for that time. But to be on that other side where I was like, had been building businesses for so long with the intent, always knowing I'd be a parent, and I wanted to have the freedom to be able to be with my kids, take time off, travel, and not be stuck in your 2 weeks a year or whatever that might look like. That was, it was challenging. And it also was fuel for the fire, where I was like, okay, I'm going to be here for this gap of time, and then I'm getting right back into doing this because now I know what I need to do to be successful in my company on my own. And so the freedom is like everything. And, you know, with my son, where, you know, he's 4 years old now, and I always try to encourage him to like remind him, like, you can do absolutely everything. It's just a matter of deciding that you can do it. And, you know, in 2016, my husband and I sold everything that we owned and moved into an RV, and we traveled around the country. And it was cool. It was not quite my cup of tea, but you know, for everybody else, it's like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. It was great. But one of the problems was that we didn't have a way to get around for me to get out and go work. So I was limited, right? So I need to have that like fluidity to be able to do whatever I want, go wherever I want, send my kids to the schools that align with me. And, you know, I'm sitting in front of a computer 24/7. I don't want that for my kids. I want to give them a life that we had when we were younger that wasn't tied to a screen. And so, we choose to send our children to a Waldorf school, which is, it requires a lot of sacrifice to make that happen. But luckily, they have these types of schools all around the world. And if we wanted to, we could be anywhere in the world. I see as they get older, I see us, taking trips to Southeast Asia and backpacking for a couple of months, regardless of the time of year. I see us going and living in Costa Rica for a few years and being by the ocean, and really being able to teach our kids that you can literally do absolutely anything you want. You just need to make the decision that that's what you're going to do, and then grow into the person that you need to be to make that happen. And so that really is like at the core of absolutely everything that I do. And I don't, nobody can tell me. I mean, nobody can tell my son either. So he's already got those pieces in place. But yeah, I mean, I think I kind of lost track of the question.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I think
okay, I've got it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hula hoops. Seriously, hula hoops. So we're talking, you could sustain a hula hoop around your waist, doing anything, going anywhere. What?
Well, maybe not in a kitchen, maybe not in a tight space, but
yeah,
have the space to move
but that's
around.
just confined by the cupboards of the space. I mean, you could just you could be walking down the street sustaining a hula hoop.
Yep.
You could be folding laundry. You could be, I mean, maybe not washing dishes because you have to be close to it, right? But you could be nursing your daughter with, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
You got abs, woman.
Yep.
Balance. I mean, think about that. That is, okay, I've got to tell you, that's a metaphor for life. That you need to write a book. Really, that is a metaphor for life, right? It is absolutely sustaining that balance within yourself. I mean, I look at it that way, right? Sustaining that balance in yourself, no matter where you are and what you're doing. That is the life metaphor. That's all I need. I'm going to take up the hula hoop and just be like, okay, I'm ready.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. I mean, I never even looked at it like that. But you're so right. It really is. And again, it's like making that decision. If I can just do this, then I can do this. And if I can just do that, then I can do this. So yeah.
That power, right? That first time we realize that we absolutely have that ability to do anything. I mean, once we realize that, it's like a cascade effect, right? And then it just keeps, the dominoes keep falling, and we just finally keep realizing that why am I doing this when I really don't want to, when I really could be doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy. Do you see, well, I know one of your kids is less than a year old, so there's nothing really that you could see there with this, but do you see your older child at all interested in the kind of stuff that you're doing?
Oh yeah. Well, so my son, we jokingly call him a finger pointer. He can orchestrate anything. There'll be a group of people in a room and it takes him a little while to warm up, but once he's warmed up, he'll oh, we're going to do this with this, and you're going to do that with this, and this is how we're going to do it. And, oh, wait, no, you didn't do that right. So we're going to do it this way. This is the way to do it. So he is a born leader. So depending, we'll see what really gets him excited and passionate, but at the end of the day, he is 100% already showing that he is going to have no problem stepping into a leadership role. A little fine tuning will be helpful, but I think we all need a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Lucy, on the other hand, she just walks into a room and just lights it up. So we'll see kind of how that develops for her. But yeah, she follows in her brother's footsteps with everything he does. So we'll see how things go.
Just wait.
Yeah. I know. I'm a little nervous about what's to come, but I'm in for it.
I got to be honest. My number one goal was to have my sons be friends. That's really to have them not compete with each other. I've got to be like him, or I'm not like him, so mom doesn't love me, or none of that baloney. Really, it's just be friends, enjoy each other's company, because really when we go, hopefully, we go before they do, obviously, they'll have each other and still be able to be friends. And that's really, that was my number one goal. And
yes.
But I'm your favorite though.
You are more like me.
I don't pick favorites. You're my favorite.
There's no favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I love that. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're right. As like, that is really a huge goal for me, and is to support them, to support each other and give them the ability, because I came from a family of 4, and me and my older brother were like thick as thieves, except for like, there's a gap of time where he was a bit of a jerk, and I'm sure I was a pain in the butt, but he is like, hands down, he's like my best friend. And so if I can support them to support each other in that same way, and that's always what I'm coaching Ollie on. I'm like, be kind, be compassionate, be mindful of her. And because if they have that, like when you have that role, and Evan, I'm sure you've seen this as well, like growing up, it's like when you have that support system built in, because being successful as an entrepreneur, like you cannot do it alone. You can't. You need to have somebody who's kind of got your back. And even if they don't necessarily see your vision, as long as they support you and everything that you're doing, like it just makes it so much easier when you don't have to try to get buy-in from the people that matter.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No, I don't really like to talk to people who don't support what I do. Like they don't have to, it's not like every single one of my friends is really deep into the business or whatever, but it's not like I say what I'm doing and they're like, that's stupid or something. Like those people, why would you want to be around those types of people? So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely you don't get that from me. I'm never, ever, ever going to say, you want to do what? Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not really an entrepreneur, so.
I know, I don't really qualify.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
That's
my
really
role is my role is mom, and that's all. Yeah, no. Wow. Okay, so I know we also talked about the fact that just to be able to allow Ollie and Lucy to explore and to see, because I know Evan and Riley both, they're opposites in personality, absolute opposites. Just the fact of when they wake up during the day should tell you that they are opposites, right? That's it. I mean, Riley's up at 6.
Wakes up way before me. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, Riley's up at 6 and Evan's not. Let's just put it that way. And so that they're opposites. So being able to allow them to explore the things they're good at, the things they enjoy, and use my business as a vehicle, a safe vehicle to explore those things. We have that opportunity. We don't now. It's different. We've talked to quite a few people on this show, and we've talked to people who look at family business as one person creates the business, and then the next generation takes it over and does it according to how that person created the business, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about different facets of our businesses, being able to allow our children to explore their talents, their passions, their desires, what they want to learn, and using our business in a safe environment to be able to do that. Especially with leadership, with Ollie, right? I mean, do you anticipate being able to offer up your business as an opportunity for him to learn and grow in those areas?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. When you're younger, leadership might look like just, building something out for yourself, right? Like I remember taking apart computers back when, I'd put one CD-ROM into this one or another. And like, and for me, that was what I was like, cool, I'm in control of something. And what I want to see happen, I'm going to make happen. So yeah, I mean, I think we would do a disservice to our children if we made all of the sacrifices that entrepreneurship and building a successful business requires if we didn't give our kids the opportunity to explore what they're great at. I have a somewhat unfortunate story that speaks into this because it's very close to home. My father-in-law owns a very successful business doing irrigation. And unfortunately, he doesn't necessarily have the mindset that we bring to, parenting and being able to give our kids like the best opportunities possible. And, it comes down to when you're growing your business, like right people, right seats, right? You've got to have the right people in the right positions. And if you have the right people, but they're in the wrong position, then they're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. You're not going to get the results that you want. And so what if you move them into the right seat? If you move them into the right seat, actually, you'll drive your business forward even more. And this has been a real struggle. My husband, and he's the baby of the family by a lot. There's 3 boys, and they're all very competitive. My husband could really care less, but his older brothers are very competitive. And so my husband has been at this position in the company where he's like, okay, well, I would love to be able to grow and thrive here, but this is not something that really brings me a lot of joy. And so, I'm going to do the best that I can. But if you're going to keep trying to fit this square peg into a round hole, then you're going to continue to keep getting the same results that you've always got. And so, yeah, growth is going to happen, but you're not going to grow in the way that you want to grow. And as a result, there's so much friction between my husband and his brothers, and therefore his father. And his father is now in a position where, he's approaching retirement, and, his brain, he's like, well, I might have to sell the company because I don't see how these 3 guys can actually move this business, in the right direction, which is sad, because he's, I think they just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the company. We've got an anniversary party coming up. And I mean, I love my father-in-law. He's great. I love my brothers-in-law, but if we all brought to our business, especially like a family business, right, is like, okay, I see that you're really good at this. This is what we're going to do, as opposed to, well, this is the job that I did, so you need to do this job. And like, gosh, we could grow so much more if we keep ourselves open to where we want to go and see, like, okay, well, here's my idea. What do you think of this? Like, I think that that's so important. And so I'm very passionate about bringing that approach to our company. And, if this would bring Ollie bliss to be able to explore his, his leadership abilities or whatever he's excited about when the time comes, then I want to embrace that as much as possible, because it's not going to be fun for anybody if I'm just forcing him to do this thing because I think he would be good in that, or because I need that role fulfilled. So, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I have a father-in-law who's very similar. I'll just leave it at that. And basically they're at the point where it's just going to have to sell or close down because the parties involved are not it's not what brings them joy. It's not what brings them bliss. And it's just fulfilling a role for the sake of keeping it going so the father-in-law can feel good.
Yeah.
And that's not really a way to live your life. It's
No,
just
not at all. Not at all. Like my husband and I actually met because of the festival that I used to produce. His band played back when he was playing music, and then when we got together, like, he loved being able to organize the stage and coordinate the bands and do all those things. And like, gosh, he's amazing at that. And it's like, if I'm like, I can't wait until we're in the position where my income is able to replace, his and mine. And so that way, he can get back into an experience of having fun doing what he does. And it can really become more of a family affair, because I think it's such a cool way to learn and grow together. It's like such a path to personal development and in building a business and in working together and really testing the limits of what a team can do together. And I think that bringing that into a family is really cool when you can do it the right way.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm finally able to retire my husband. So
Congratulations, that's amazing.
It's finally going to happen. I'm so happy to not have to depend on tax seasons every year and have to be. So basically, I was a single mother during tax season every year. And I mean, Evan knows when he would go to school, it would be like, oh, it's tax season. No, you can't have any sleepovers. No, you can't. We can't go on any vacations. No, we can't stay up late or make noise. Dad's got to sleep, that kind of, it was just, it ruled our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
Right, Evan?
Oh, yeah. Hence why I did not take over the family tax business.
That's right. And believe me, Grandpa gave him plenty of opportunities.
I'm sure, right? It's just what you want, son.
Yeah. But I'm seeing you do this for not if the income was like $1 million a year, then maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I'm not sacrificing my entire spring for average pay. Like, why would you want to do that? So, yeah, no thanks.
Exactly. It's got to be rewarding. I think entrepreneurs are some of the hardest working people out there, with the exception of, I'm sure much, but we work really hard, and it's got to be worth it. I said to my business partner a few months ago when, we were having a challenging moment, we're in just over our first year. So you know how it is, like the ups and downs of growing a business. And, we have my husband is very, very supportive, but I remember us having this conversation where we were like, well, if I'm going to work this hard, I need to make a little bit more than what we were talking about. I think we were doing goal setting, and, my business partner, she's the finance one. I am the dreamer 100%. And so I was like, if I'm going to work this hard and take on this much liability, it's gotta be worth it for me. But if I was working for somebody else, I did that, I tried that. And even with a great salary, not being able to be fully in control of my calendar is there's just no way. And if you have to sacrifice an entire season to make $1 million, and then, not be the one who's in control, there's the pros and cons for sure, but
I just can't imagine not having control over my time. Like if I want to go out for lunch, or if I want to take a trip somewhere, I can't imagine not being able to just do that. Or having maybe the obstacle would be money if I'm saving for something, or if I don't want to spend the money, but that's fine. But it's usually it's the opposite. Most people they might have the money from their jobs, whatever, but because a lot of my friends from who are the same age as me, I'm 22, most of my friends are in school, law school, something like that, and it's or they're working because it's in the summer now, even though I don't think of it in terms of school year anymore, because it's been how long since I've been one adult. But we'll be do you want to do this thing? And they're I don't know, I don't think I should take that much time off work. And I'm wow, that sucks. I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah.
I'll send you pictures. You have fun working. I like sending them a picture when I wake up 9 a.m. or whenever I wake up even later in the day, and they're at work, and I'm good morning. How's work?
Yes. I love that. And it really is the best thing ever. Cause I remember the same thing. I worked in corporate when I first, I took a hiatus from college for a little while, and I worked at a bank. And I remember being wait, I make how much? And I'm here at this time, and I get to take how much time off? I think I lasted in that job. I actually remember the moment I was I could either go back to school and get a business degree, or I could stay here and climb the ladder, because I was approaching a potential, a great promotion. And in those moments where you could go either way, and I had no idea what a big decision I was making in that moment, but it really did pave the pathway. I was I need full control of my schedule, or else I just can't. I can find happiness anywhere, but the bliss
and
that I
earning
feel.
Potential.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I make as much money. It's proportional to how much I work. Whereas even in a job where you climb a ladder, you can grow your income, but you reach a point where you've climbed as high as you can climb. The ladder ends. You're there. You know what I mean? Whereas being an entrepreneur, you can make $50 billion. Like there's no end to it. You can make as much as you want.
If you want.
Yeah, you can go to space. Yeah, like actually, yeah, and like yeah. So it's just I don't understand why there aren't more entrepreneurs, to be honest. Because
well, you kind of do. You know the fear that's associated with
there's
so
fear,
many people,
and a lot of people weren't as lucky as I was to have a parent who was in entrepreneurship. Right. Most parents, aren't that way. I mean, most of my friends who were in law school, guess where their dad went? Law school. Surprise, surprise. So, and they may say the same thing about me. You're an entrepreneur. What does your mom do? She's an entrepreneur. Surprise, surprise. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you for pointing out one of the greatest aspects of my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so have you, because of, I mean, at your age where everybody's kind of like, it's that time of life where you're like, well, what am I going to do with my life now?
Mm-hmm.
Have any of your friends been inspired to go down the entrepreneurial path? Because
no, not because of me.
Yet.
I've kind of poked a little bit just out of curiosity, but I have a firm philosophy of I keep my entrepreneurial career life and mindset, ideas and things like that away, separate from my non-entrepreneur friends, because it doesn't work. They don't have to. Yeah, no, you don't. That's like as a coach, you don't you don't give people advice, you coach people, right? So I'm not going to randomly throw advice in the faces of my friends when they're like, yeah,
well,
whatever.
I'm sure give it a few years. I'm sure they'll start.
Give it a few years, and when I'm exactly, give it a few years, and when they see me working so much less than them, making so much more than them, not that that's a competition, but I mean, that's what's going to happen. How many years does it take to become a rich lawyer? I went to law school, right? And I've been an entrepreneur for how many years now? So like, I'm probably, it's not a competition, but it's just a reality. I'm probably going to be making significantly more money than them, working way, way, way less, and so
living where you want.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, I'll be doing whatever I want, living wherever I want, going wherever I want, buying whatever I want. And so, maybe then they'll see that and be like, hey, like, well, how did you do that? And then I'll be like, I'm glad you asked. I've been waiting how many years for you to finally ask that question, So yeah. So in answer to your question, no, none of them have been inspired. Not for lack of trying, but some people are very, very ingrained in what you're supposed to do.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You go to school, you go to college, you do this, you do that. Everything's supposed to work out. Mm-hmm. I choose to work in my pajamas instead.
Heck yes to that. Well, and now a lot of people can actually work from pajamas on the waist down, but it doesn't really make a difference, because when I was working for someone else, I was working from my home, but I still was working for someone else. So it was like, you could put the phone down and maybe go and get lunch downstairs, but you were hustling back to check the phone and make sure that, you didn't miss any important emails or Voxer notifications or whatever it might be.
And that's not even going to last too much longer. People are going back to work. So give it another year or two and we'll be pretty much back to the way it used to be, depending on, all the other stuff. So it's not even permanent. I mean, I'm sure I would hope most companies realize how much better it is to have people work from home instead of renting out an office space for the same stuff, but it's probably not going to happen. So it's not even permanent, you get to have the joy of going back to an office. Oh my God, that sounds horrible.
And maybe even a cubicle.
Oh my God.
I drive past on my way to the grocery store. I drive like through a commercial area that's like, all the office buildings that are all empty now. But I cringe a little every single time that I look at them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't imagine having to do that like every day of my life. And I mean, I think we all want our children to be successful in their own right. We want them to have the things that we didn't have. And I was just visiting with family this weekend, and my uncle and aunt, they've been very successful in their lives, and their two children are equally as successful. And they were saying how they both have gone into like the corporate world and that they're doing great, and they're so happy, and they're two amazing kids, amazing kids. And I was like looking at that and looking at Ollie and Lou and thinking like, what can I give to them to ensure that they are able to be better off than I was when I came out of the gate. And it's just, I don't want to force them into anything. Like, I want to give them the tools that they need to be able to make the choices that are right and true for them. My dad was an entrepreneur for years and years, and then he left and did corporate for a little while. But when I was graduating from high school, I remember I was like, well, I don't really know what I want to do. Do I have to go to college? And he was like, yeah, you have to go to college. And I was like, well, what if I take a year off? He's like, you'll never go back. You have to go. And so it took me 7 years to finally graduate with a bachelor's in European history, which is doing me great things these days, right? And it came from a desire to ensure that I would be successful, right? Like it didn't come because he was like, oh, I want you to sack yourself with a bunch of student loan debt. And back then, nobody knew what they were doing. This was before the housing crisis and everything. No one realized that we were all signing our lives away and doing a lot of those things. And but my point in sharing that is like, if I can give my kids some of the tools that I have achieved for myself, and MK, I know you've imparted this into your children. You're such a shining example of this. And Evan, you've been so lucky to like kind of skip a lot of the mindset growth that is necessary in order to be able to be successful as an entrepreneur. Because like you've seen, like, oh no, like I had to prove to myself that I could be successful doing this. I had to prove to myself that I could follow through and be consistent and do all these things. I had to learn the hard way. But I think like if we can teach our kids like those tools, not necessarily like that this is the path for you, but if you can, say, well, that's scary, but I know I can do anything. Or, I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow through on the commitment that I made. I'm going to be consistent in taking these efforts. If we can share the lessons that, because we all know, right? And for anybody who's listening, like you have these specific lessons that you learn through this process. I mean, business is like the fastest path to personal development. The one thing, if I can die happy, is like if everybody believes that they can trust in the process and not second guess every step of the way, I'll be a happy woman. And so if like I can teach my children that, then whatever they decide to do, and hopefully it will be the entrepreneurial pathway, I think that their lives will probably be set up for that to be an easy step in. Because they're not going to want to stop traveling when they get to 22, Yeah. But yeah, I just feel like I just love that you brought this conversation together, because there's so much to that we can give to our children just by sharing those lessons that we've learned, and not like you go to school, get good grades, go to a good college. Like, no. Like, you can do hard things. You can be successful if you decide you want to be successful. Like, if it's not bringing you joy, do you need to explore something else? Like, we can skip so much challenge and struggle. I feel like if we can learn those lessons sooner. And so I definitely want to make that happen. It's always been a commitment for me with my kids. It's like really impart those lessons to them instead of, share, be nice. Like, don't get all that stuff.
Go to college.
Figure that out. Yeah. Yes.
Go to college and spend $100,000 trying to figure it out when you could just as easily do it from home for free online.
Yeah, when Evan was born, I actually worked a corporate job. I was an area manager for a couple of counties in Sacramento area, and I would drive a 45-minute to an hour drive one way to a high rise. go to the whatever floor, a view. Funnily enough, I had this huge bank of windows in this huge office, and the view looked back home from where I came from, right? The Sierra Nevada mountains, and I'm in the foothills and I would look out that window going, my kid is there, my husband's there, I have to pump to nurse him. I have to quick rush home to be home by like 6 because he's waiting for me to come home because dad only has enough milk and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was one of the most stressful times of my entire life. It was awful. And this is a kid who wouldn't take to a bottle. So the first like 3 days, he cried all day. I don't care what I did. I tried for 4 months since he was born. I didn't go back till he was 4 months old. I tried for 4 months to get him to take a bottle. Tried every nipple in the market. He would not. He refused.
I say, sorry.
Picky.
He's got high standards. Let me tell you.
I'm used to a certain quality of life, and I don't want that to be changed.
It's true, right?
It was so much. So that was so tough. And then, then Riley was born, and then I just got grabbed by the throat by this entrepreneurial thing that I could not walk away from. I couldn't get it out of my head. I had to do it. And that was it. That was it. But you said something so important. I have to make everybody sick to their stomach and take my camera and go up here and see my whiteboard. And we've got 2 words. We've got dare to act and trust it works.
Oh, I love it.
That's it. That's what you were saying. We have to dare to act, to actually take the actions, to commit to the actions, and then just let go of our fears and trust that it's going to work.
Yep. Same thing with our kids, right? We have to just do the best that we can.
That's it. That's it.
Trust it all works out so far. But hey, you're a great shining example. I mean, the fact that the 2 of you, like, if I was hanging out with my mom, I mean, I've got great parents. My parents are really amazing. But like, hanging out with my mom when I was 22 on a podcast, that would have been the coolest freaking thing ever. I mean, it's awesome. It really is.
We're having a blast. Definitely. We were just chatting. Awesome. We were just chatting a couple of minutes ago, about a couple hours ago, actually, about boomers and how the fact that there's a statement out there about boomers that young kids say and these young people say. And Evan's like, are you a boomer? And, my husband actually asked me that last night. Like, are we boomers? And I'm like, yeah, we are at the end, very, very end of boomerhood. And Evan's like, no, Mom, you're not a boomer. Dad's probably a boomer. Yeah, I can see it in him, but you're not a boomer. Because I'm in this world. I mean, I build chatbots, for criminy sakes. I do AI. Most boomers don't do that. I'm having fun.
Right? Most boomers don't do that either.
No, unless it's playing golf. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes. Right. Huh? How fun is that?
I never tried it. Maybe it is fun, but no, have no desire.
I feel like it's not fun every day, though.
No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, no college for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, don't do it.
I mean,
there's some great lessons to be gleaned from it, but it was like, how to like get stuff done with a due date. And like, I don't know, I still was up cramming all night. I still am the same way, at 38 years old. If it's due tomorrow, I'm probably working on it at midnight. So it really it just taught me like, I guess maybe how to pull an all-nighter.
Right. And how much money did that lesson cost,
So much. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear some of the figures some of my friends throw out, and I'm like, oh my God, the amount of money I'm spending on college is $0. Yeah, that's horrific.
And here's the thing, like, what if like that? Why don't we have like, instead of student loans, why don't we have like, oh, you just graduated from college, here's your entrepreneurial loan, here's $100,000 to go put into your business. Because like, at least that would pay, there would be like a real ROI on that. Now, not to say that people don't have an ROI from college, right? Some people are able to go to college and come out really successful, and some people that's the right path for them. But for many of us, it's not. And we force ourselves into this because that's what everybody says you're supposed to do. And like, just what if I can go back and take all of those like student loans and put that into my business, oh my gosh, I
Right.
never had to close my business in 2017. I would be in a completely different place right now. Again, everything's perfect and perfectly aligned, but like, yeah, gosh, that would have been awesome.
Maybe we should do that, right?
Yeah.
Have an entrepreneur school where your loan actually gets applied to your business. And we're actually kind of doing that, right? There are some incubators. That's what incubators are kind of doing, right? Where you kind of support businesses and that money goes into the business as they learn and grow. So yeah, I'm actually working with a local incubator that's doing that, that is trying to help build businesses in the Sacramento area. And I'm volunteering my time to go and teach about conversational marketing, teach these founders about conversational marketing and how they can understand who their prospects are at a deep level and what pain they solve for that prospect and how they can communicate that with that prospect where that prospect needs it, not just about how the business wants to say it, right? But where that prospect needs it from the prospect's perspective, and then start a conversation that allows that person to understand, okay, yeah, I am in the right place and I do need what you offer. All of those kinds of things, that's kind of what incubators are for. And so maybe we need more of those.
Definitely.
Right?
I think 100%. I think that makes all the difference. And especially what you're talking about, because this is like the number one mistake I see entrepreneurs make is that they just don't know how to talk to their market. It's like, the amount of people that we talk to in our company on a regular basis, this is like the ones who decide to work with us, like that's like the first place that we go. We're like, let's nail your niche and get you set up. I know this is, this for what you do as well, as like, and then all of a sudden everything starts to click.
Yes.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So as we start to wind down the interview, we like to end with the same question. And that's by asking, if you were to die tomorrow, what would be the entrepreneurial legacy that you would leave behind for your kids to use as an example as they grow into entrepreneurs themselves, hopefully?
Yeah. I think that like when you ask that question, the thing that comes to mind is I always see a garden and like a tropical garden. It always brings me to this one specific place in Costa Rica, but who knows where it really is. But I would say is like, if I can give my children the ability to really be wherever, I think that I would feel fully fulfilled, because what I realized after having my second kid and with everything that's happened in this world in the last year, it really brought so much into perspective, as I'm sure it has for a lot of people. But it comes down to this, who knows what tomorrow is going to look like. And so we have to stop pushing off what we want, and where, like, it may not be in a week, right? Like it might not happen in a week. So whatever you want to live it like right now, right here and right now. And so if I can give my kids the ability to do that, and I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but if I can really impart that piece, which I think we've kind of talked about, left and right, but I have to just drive it home because it's so important. It's like, just to give them the ability and the faith that if they can dream it, like I did with my festival in a barn late one night, I was in my hula hoop dancing, to music, and had this vision of having this festival. And, 4 months later it happened and I met my husband. Like, so if I can impart to them the ability to like see it and then bring it down to reality and create it as something real and amazing, then I want them to be able to do that. And I think I would die a really happy person if we could all do that, and specifically my children, for sure. It's a little abstract, but I think that I'd die a very, very happy mama if I could do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's incredible. I'm just so, Meagan, I'm so happy you were able to join us today. I always love talking to you and having conversations with you. We get to depths and levels that are just this is what lights me up, right? This is to me waking up every day. First off, if I'm lucky enough to wake up, I want to have conversations with people like you, because we get deep into really where we want this world to go and how we can help transform lives to help the world go this way. So thank you. Thank you again.
Emily, I'm so grateful for you and just what you are, and for bringing this conversation like out into the world. I think more people need to be inspired to like pass this on to their children. It's not a given, right? For some of us, it's a given, but it's not a given for everybody. And so I'm just so grateful for you. And Evan, so cool to see the way you and your mom are working together and making big things happen. And I'm so excited to see where you go. I mean, what you've accomplished in 22 years is like, it's awesome. I'm so excited to see where this all goes. So thank you both so much for having me. This was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Parent Entrepreneur Power. Hopefully you came away with valuable tools you can use in your business, life, and relationship with your kids. If you want to hear more about our mission, or if you want more insights into cultivating your parent entrepreneur power, join our movement to make entrepreneurship more accessible to parents and their kids at parententrepreneurpower.com.